Hi, good morning everyone, and welcome to Fusion Fridays. If you don't already know, I'm Nigel Mbaye, application engineer here at Kative Technologies, and I guess your host for today. As you can see, I'm not alone. I'm joined by two gentlemen here, Alex and Brian. Hey guys, how's it going?
How's it going, Reds?
And this is our Fusion team here at Kative Technologies. But you know, we got a great session in store today. So just first off, if you do have any questions at any time, feel free to post them in the GoToWebinar chat panel, or in the questions boxes on your YouTube or Facebook browsers, if that's where you're streaming from, and we'll make sure to address those at the end of the webcast today. So with that, I'll go ahead and pass it on to Brian, I guess, for a quick overview of what we're going to be doing.
Yeah. In case you guys missed the last Fusion Friday, I'll go over a quick overview of what Fusion is, so you can be able to use it to its fullest capabilities. So why Fusion 360? Tools such as SolidWorks and Inventor are 25 to 30 years old, and it doesn't tackle the problems that are out there today. Fusion 360 leverages modern technology based around these three ideas, which are essential for a user's success. Fusion is integrated because we can go from concept to fabrication all in one tool, as opposed to multiple tools. Data is intellectually connected in Fusion 360. What I mean by that is, if you have a model that has toolpaths connected to it, if you update that model, if you make changes to it, the toolpaths will change as well. Alex will show an example of this later in the presentation. Fusion is connected because of its collaboration features. Since Alex and I got Fusion, we never had to email or use Dropbox to transfer or share data with each other anymore. And lastly, Fusion is accessible because it can be run on either the Mac or PC. So now I'll pass the baton off to Alex so he can share with you guys about the fabrication features of Fusion 360.
Yeah, thank you for that, Brian. Yeah, so like you mentioned, today's Fusion Friday is going to focus on the fabrication aspect of your project. So let's go ahead and dive into Fusion 360 and take a look at some of the tools, the CAM tools that are built in to it. So here we see we have a desk organizer modeled. You have a couple pockets here for your iPhone, one for your sticky notes, some drilled holes for your pen, and then a place where you could hang your watch if you want to. Now, all of this was created in the modeling workspace, so all the geometry and extrusions was created in this workspace. If you take a look here, we do have various other workspaces as well. We will be doing some Fusion Friday videos on these topics further down the line, so stay tuned for that. But for today, we are going to focus on the CAM workspace. So we go here, we take a look at the workflow. Autodesk made it very intuitive for the user to work from left to right. So if you take a look here, the first thing we're going to want to do is create a setup. Next, you're going to create a couple toolpaths for your part. Then you're going to want to simulate any of the toolpaths that you have laid out. And then finally, you're going to post it and then, obviously run your program. So first, let's go over here to the setup. If you go over here and hover over the setup, if you're new to machining or just new to this interface, Autodesk made it extremely simple for the user to read over the description that comes up here. And as well, they added some pictures to help you visualize what you're going to be doing if you do or select this function. So let's go ahead and click on this. If you see this, it says that you're going to be creating some general properties for your machining operations, as well as adding your work coordinate system. So let's go ahead and select that. We see that we get a relative size stock. That's because if we go over to our stock, we see that the mode is by default relative size box. Let's go ahead and change that to fixed size box, being that we already know the dimensions of our stock. So let's go ahead and set that to 9.5. The depth of Y is 8.5, so that's fine. The thickness is going to be 1 inch. So if we go over to the front view, we see that our model is positioned in the center of our stock. Which is okay, if you want to leave it there. But I just want to do one operation, one facing operation to get rid of the material over here on the top. To do that, we could do an offset of 50 thousandths. So let's go ahead and do the offset of 50 thousandths. Here we see that our model gets positioned correctly within our stock. Let's go ahead and click OK. And let's see what we get. Okay, so we see this triad in the center. That's going to indicate where our work coordinate system is. Well, what if I didn't want the work coordinate system in the center of that? What if I wanted it over here on the top right or top left? Sorry. go ahead and right click on your setup, edit. Under the work coordinate system options, you're going to see that you get an option for the stock point, and that's because we have the origin set as stock box point. So then the stock is going to have all these points that we can select from to indicate where our work coordinate system is going to be at. So here we have the box point. It's asking us to select the box point. Let's go ahead and select this box point here. We see that our work coordinate system is now going to be over here on the top left, and click OK. All right, so now let's go ahead and start with our first operation. Typically, you're going to want to start with the facing operation. So over here under 2D toolpaths, we're going to see that there's a facing operation here. If you take a look, the logo next to the facing operation is the same logo that you see over here on the top. And that's just indicating that by default, if you were to click on this logo on the top, it's going to be a facing operation. So let's go ahead and do that. Now we get this dialog box. So it's asking us to select the tool first. So let's go ahead and select our tool. We see that we get the dialog box for the tool library. Now Fusion 360 does come equipped with a sample library with various diameters and various lengths, various tools. But what if we didn't want to scroll through this whole library? What if we wanted to have a custom library, for the tools that we have at our shop? Fusion 360 makes it extremely easy for you to do that. So if you take a look here under local, you see I've created a CSUF library. That's because these are the tools that we have at our shop. You do have the filters here. That's why you only see the flat end mills and the face end mills, sorry. So that's nice right there. But what if you wanted to do or to have a library accessible through the cloud? If you take a look here under the cloud tab, if we were to create a tool library here, if you were to go to a different computer and log in with your same credentials, you would see that tool library appear under this cloud tab. So now you don't have to worry about carrying your laptop wherever you go and accessing Fusion 360. Now, as long as you have your tool library saved in the cloud, you are always going to have access to that. So here under the local, this tool library is only specific to my computer. So let's go ahead and select the 2.5-inch face mill, click OK, and let's just click OK and see what we get. We see that Fusion 360 is smart enough to pick up where the top of our model is at, and then the height of our stock, and it automatically faces up to that face. So that's nice. Let's go ahead and select the next operation. You can either do a roughing operation over here on the outside, or you could start working on these pockets. Let's go ahead and start working on these pockets. So if we do a 2D pocket operation, again, it's asking us to select our tool. Let's go ahead and select our tool. Go to my library, 1/4-inch flat, click OK. And let's just click OK. Same thing we did for the facing operation. And we're going to get an error, right? It's asking us to select the pocket. So now, since we have multiple pockets, Fusion doesn't know which pocket you want to get machined. So let's tell it. Let's tell it we want to machine this pocket right here, and this last one. And we can go ahead and click OK. But first, if you notice, these pockets are all different depths. If you're coming from different CAM software, you might be accustomed to selecting each individual pocket and creating different operations for different depth pockets. But here, Fusion is powerful enough to know that these are all different depths, and it takes those toolpaths into account. So let's go ahead and click OK. So here you see that we get a preview of the toolpath, and it accordingly created the toolpath to account for this other sized pocket. If you've been machining for a while, you'll know that you're going to have constant tool load as you're machining right here. But as soon as you start getting to the corner or the fillets, you're going to get a spike in the chip load. Now you can edit your toolpath. Now that's going to be a little bit more time crunch, if you will. But why not select the 2D adaptive? Now 2D adaptive is really the moneymaker when it comes to Fusion 360. So let's go ahead and see how that toolpath changes if we were to do a 2D adaptive. Let's go ahead and do 2D adaptive. Again, select the pockets.
And you don't have to hit like Control or Shift here, Alex. You're just clicking the pockets.
Right, you're just selecting the pockets that you want machined. So let's go ahead and select that and click OK. All right, and we see here that we get a different toolpath than the 2D pocket operation. Now, why is that, right? We get a spiral toolpath. So what this spiral toolpath is allowing us to do is it's just letting the tool have constant chip load as it's machining this toolpath. And that's huge, right? Because that's going to allow us to have longer tool lives and essentially keep our tools much longer. So now that we're in the topic of tool life, why not change the way that it's ramping down here? Why not add a taper to this helix in order to better help with the chip evacuation? So let's go ahead again and right-click the 2D adaptive, edit. Under the linking tab, let's go ahead and change the ramp taper angle to 7 degrees. Let's go ahead and click OK. Notice how easy it is to change toolpaths. So you don't have to go and create a whole new setup. You just go ahead and select that individual toolpath and edit. So here we take a look at the way it's helixing down. You see that it's tapered as it's coming down. And again, that's going to allow us for better chip evacuation as it's coming down on your part. Okay, so now what we can do is probably do a roughing operation over here on the top for the outside profile, or we can start working on this slot right here in the middle. So let's go ahead and start working on that slot. So let's do a 2D slot operation. Now we're going to start using 1/16 flat end mill. Click OK. For the geometry tab, it's asking us to select the pocket. So if we were to select this pocket, it's going to start wanting to machine this entire pocket. So why not just allow it and confine it to machine this little slot right here? That way we don't waste time. So let's go ahead and take a look at how we can do that. If we allow us to, if we can see the sketch that we created in order to make this pocket, that would allow us to confine the tool to that boundary only. So if we go over here to the left and expand our sketches, turn our sketches on first, we see that we have the sketch visible now. And that sketch is going to allow us again to confine the tool to only machine this. So if we go again and do a 2D slot operation, 2D slot, we're going to start using a 16-inch flat end mill. Click OK. Under the geometry tab now, we can go ahead and select this contour. And we see that we get a preview of what's going to get machined. So let's go ahead and just click OK, see what we get. And we see that the tool is only going to machine up to that face. Now, why is that? By default, Fusion 360 selects the bottom height to be the selected contour. So being that our selected contour is going to be up to this face, the bottom of the tool is only going to reach up to that face. Let's go ahead and change that though. Right-click on the slot, edit the operation. Let's go now to the Heights tab. Let's go to Selection. Now you see here it's asking for a bottom reference. Let's go ahead and select that face as our bottom reference. Click OK. You see now that the tool is going to machine up to that face. Now what's neat about this, as Brian was saying earlier, this is an integrated CAD/CAM software. So what does that mean, right? Essentially, if you were to change the height of this face, you can expect Fusion to parametrically change the way this toolpath is running. So instead of machining up to this face now, or instead of machining to this new face, it's going, once you make a change to the model, it's going to machine up to that updated depth that you have created. So that's nice to have. It's going to save you a lot of time instead of having to actually select the face again and create that toolpath. Okay. So now we can go ahead and start working on these holes over here. So let's go ahead and do a drilling operation for that. Now, I'm not too sure what size holes those are, so we can just go ahead and hit I for inspect, select the hole. And we see that we got a diameter of 0.406 or 1330 seconds. So let's go ahead and select the drilling operation. Our tool again is going to be a 1330 seconds drill bit. Click OK. Now, if you take a look here, the workflow has slightly changed. So now instead of the passes tab, you are going to get a cycle tab. So if you go here, click on cycle, we see that we get different cycles that your drill bit is going to be doing. Let's go ahead and do a peck drilling. So deep drill full retract, 0.1 pecking depth is fine. Go ahead and go back to your geometry tab. And now it's asking us for the hole faces. So let's go ahead and select these holes. Now I can select each hole individually, being that we only have 3. What if we had 50 holes, right? We wouldn't want to individually select each hole for that toolpath. So let's go ahead and click on select same diameter. And Fusion 360 is smart enough to pick up that these are all the same diameter and create toolpaths for all those holes. All right, so let's go ahead and click OK. Now we can go ahead and simulate, see what we have so far. Toolpath, I like to keep the mode in tail so that you don't get a visualization of all the toolpaths in here. Let's go ahead and turn our stock on. Remove stop on collision for now. Seems like I selected. Okay, so you want to make sure that you start from the top. Simulate. Turn the stock on. And there we go. Let me just fast forward through that. Now again, you see that we have this option for stop on collision. Let's go ahead and select that and see what happens. Just fast forward it a little bit more. All right, and we see that there's a collision here as you are ramping down to machine this section. Okay, so how do we edit that? We can definitely go ahead and edit the lead-in and maybe increase it a little bit. So let's go ahead and 2D adaptive, right-click, edit. And under the linking tab, let's go ahead and change the horizontal lead-in to 1/8, so 0.125. Click OK. Let me just hide this sketch real quick, being that we don't need it. And let's see what the simulation gives us. Go ahead and simulate it one more time. Turn our stock back on. Click play. And we see here on the bottom, this shows us the simulation length where it's going to be at. So you see that each individual one is going to be its new operation. So now we see that there are no more collisions and that collision has been taken care of. So let me just finish that. We see the slot being created there. The drill bit going down. Okay, that looks nice. All right. So now you can definitely go ahead and do some more toolpaths to finish it up. Maybe some finishing passes along here. But I'm just going to go ahead for the sake of time, just go ahead and post it. So if I were to post it, I would do post process. Make sure that you do have your setup selected if you want to post your entire code. But Fusion also allows you to select individual operations, right? So let's say I only wanted to do the facing operation first and the 2D pocket. What I'm doing here is I'm holding command. You would hold control if you have Windows and selecting the operations. So if we do that, those two, we just go ahead and do post process. We see here that we're under the generic post. That's indicating that we are going to be selecting a post from Fusion 360. So Fusion 360 does come equipped with a variety of posts. You can definitely go ahead and find your posts here. If not, you can contact Autodesk and they can help you with that. A pretty neat thing about these posts too is that you have access to them. So what I mean by that is that if you want to edit that or make modifications to that, you can definitely go ahead and do that. For instance, if you have a 5-axis machine, you can just edit the Haas generic or use the UMC 750 and then turn on the 5-axis capabilities within that post. But for now, we're going to stick to the Haas generic. Just go ahead and give it a program name, press OK. and it's going to post, replace it. So we go over here to the brackets. We see that our post is here with only those operations that we had selected. So here you will see that we have the facing operation, the 2D pocket operation.
I think you only posted the two.
The two?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, so you see that you can post, oh yeah, there is two only. So you see that you can only, you can post whichever operations you want. So if you wanted to post the whole operation or the whole program, you can definitely just go ahead and select your setup and then do the whole process again. Okay. So what if the customer only wanted 2 holes, right? We already have a whole setup created for this part, but what if he wants to change it up on us? What if he only wanted 2 holes, or maybe the pocket he wanted it a little bit wider? Let's go into the modeling workspace and change that up. Okay, so if we click on this hole, over here on the bottom, we see that it highlights the extrusion. Let's go ahead and edit that sketch that belongs to that extrusion. Edit sketch. So right click, edit sketch. We see that this was created with a sketch pattern that's indicated by this symbol here. You can just double click on that. We get the dialog box with the quantity of holes that we have created. So we're going to change that to 2. Go over to the top, click on stop sketch. Okay, so now we have 2 holes. Now that was nice, right? Because we had access to the design history. But what if we had modeled this in SolidWorks? What if we didn't have access to the design history tree over here on the bottom? One thing that you can do is take advantage of the press pull capabilities within Fusion 360. So just go ahead and right click, press pull, select on this space right here. Maybe make it a little bit wider, somewhere around there. That works. Press OK. And now we see that we have increased the length of that pocket. So what is that going to do to our setup? Let's go ahead and check back into the CAM workspace. We see that we get these check marks, these red check marks, exclamation points. I mean, that's just indicated that your toolpaths are outdated and that there has been a change to your model. So you can go ahead and press Command G to regenerate, or Control G if you're on Windows. You see here that it's going to regenerate right now.
Yeah, but it'll take some time based on how many operations you have, obviously.
Right. Okay, so let's go ahead and check the 2D pocket, 2D adapter, sorry. So here we see that it updated automatically, right? So those toolpaths did update as we updated the model, and that's huge. That's saving us a lot of time. So now instead of having to either create a new setup, we can just go ahead and have Fusion 360 take care of that for us. And that's going to be all for today, guys. If you have any questions on any of the toolpaths that we have created today, or any any functions that we did, please feel free to ask them now. I think Nigel has some questions on, some topics that he wants to talk about, a challenge that he wants to bring up.
Exactly. So just gonna turn on this webcam right now so you can see our lovely faces. Hello, everyone. Me and Brian actually switched seats here, so if you're a little confused about what looks a little bit different, it's because we switched seats. Exactly. So anyways, again, Alex, thanks for this great presentation, kind of jumping into an overview of the 3D, or the 3-axis CAM workspace in Fusion. Note that Fusion Ultimate does have 4- and 5-axis capabilities. And we can if that's something you want to see, we're more than happy to address those if you want to send us an email. If you want to just jump back to the PowerPoint here real quick, Alex. Before we jump into Q&A, I just want to announce this cool challenge that we're doing. And so what we're going to be doing is we'll go ahead and send everybody who joined us on this webcast a copy of Alex's file, showing his toolpaths and everything. But what we want you to do as users is to be able to kind of modify that and build it yourself. So we're gonna start a challenge here. So we challenge you, I guess, to go ahead and take that desk organizer model, maybe create your own, and actually get it machined. So create your toolpaths within Fusion 360 and create an actual built and finished part. And then get that over to us.
And 3D printing doesn't count.
Yeah, it has to be machined. subtractively, I guess, is if we want to. Yeah, it doesn't have to be aluminum. It can be like wood or whatever. And the person who gives us the most creative design, based on our panel of judges, we'll get a $100 gift card from Kativ. So we'll go ahead and send some information about all of the rules and whatnot after this webcast to everyone who attended, as well as copies of Alex's models, so that you guys can use that as a reference for your own. Feel free to edit it or make your own completely, but yeah, we just definitely want to see some really cool designs from people in the community. So that'd be really great.
Yeah, granted, not everyone has an iPhone 7, so you can go ahead and change, the size of the pockets or whatever you feel like changing.
Yeah, if you want to get really creative, like, I don't know. I have some ideas of stuff that I want to do myself and try, but we will see. So I'm going to give everybody a little bit of time to go ahead and ask some questions here into the panel. If you do have any, go ahead and type them in the chat. We'll go ahead and address them. The first one here we have from Joe. And Joe is this the Fusion 360 that comes with my suite, or is this the Fusion 360 Ultimate license that's like $1,500 a year? Alex, if you want to answer.
Yeah, that Fusion 360 does come with the suite, right? And then so if you do have access to that, then Fusion 360 is going to be you're going to have access to Fusion 360.
Right. The only difference between, I guess, what you're at, I mean, if you're asking that question, everything that Alex did today is available in the Fusion 360, in the suites, and in the product design collection. If you need to go into like we want to just go over a couple of differences real quick. 4 or 5 axis, it's going to be Fusion Ultimate.
Right.
And if you have any questions about that, feel free to email us. Obviously, our email here is on the screen, fusion360@kativ.com. If you have any questions at all. I'd also just like to announce too that if you do need an extra seat of Fusion, or you have one at work and you want to use one at home, maybe you want your own personal copy, we do have a special promotion going on right now here at Kativ, where we're giving people Fusion at 30% off. So if you're seeing this on YouTube, maybe later watching a recording or so, go ahead and email us at fusion360@kativ.com and just mention that, hey, I watched your webcast and I'd like to take advantage of the 30% off promotion you guys are having. Let us know, and we'll make sure that you get taken care of. That'll probably come to me or something.
Yeah.
This one here is from Tim. And Tim asks, I want to watch this recording again. I missed the first half of it. Well, where can I see it? Alex, Brian, if you want to answer that question.
Yeah, this is going to get uploaded to YouTube, so you will have access to the whole recording later on.
And then, let's see. This one comes from Lee. Does Fusion interface with other types of machinery, such as turret punch presses? If I remember correctly, it's only mills and lathes, right?
Yeah, so we go back to Fusion 360 over here. Again, under the CAM workspace, you see all the functionalities, I guess, that Fusion is able to do. So here you're going to see that you have milling, multi-axis, that's going to be your 5-axis, turning, and then you have this new cutting, I guess, option. And that's going to be your laser jet, your water jet, plasma cutters if you have some. But yeah, for hole punching, it's not going to have access to that.
Is that something you want to see in the future, Lee? Definitely let us know. We can pass off that information to some people at the Autodesk Fusion team. And obviously, if that's something that a lot of people ask for, it could be implemented in a future release. Along those same lines, the Fusion team is super transparent about what they're working on and what's going to be in some future releases. So if you look at the Fusion 360 roadmap, if you just Google that, you'll be able to see exactly what they're working on and how they plan to release new functionality in the future. I know they're working on sheet metal right now. It's almost done. Expect to see that
end of May, early
in the upcoming months
for a preview of it.
Yeah, to see a preview of what they've been working on. It looks really cool.
It is really, like, Alex and I have been playing around with it because we got access to the beta version of it, and it's really user friendly.
Yep. And if that's something you want to leverage to be part of beta programs for Autodesk, whether they be Fusion or Vault or Inventor, whatever you use, let us know. We can get you connected with the right people to get access to those beta programs, so you can be a part of the development process of the products you use every day. What a better way to work than to have influenced your future workflow. Let's see here. And it looks like we don't have too many other questions that are coming through here. Yeah, nothing's come through. that looks like I can answer right now. But anyways, if you have any future questions, definitely jot down our email address, fusion360@kativ.com. That'll get sent to a group of us here who kind of deal with all of the Fusion 360 related items, and we'll make sure you get the right resources to you. Be really interesting to know also how everyone is using 360. If you're using it, you know, at work, maybe you're using it for hobby, definitely share your stories with us. We'll be more than happy to talk to you and see if we can improve that workflow in any way. So with that, I think we're.
And if you wanted to find us on YouTube, if you search Kativ Fusion Fridays cams, that'll probably lead you right to this video.
Exactly. And if this is up before I send the follow-up email, I'll make sure to include the link to that as well. So expect an email from us later today, everybody who was on here. Thank you all for joining us, and we'll see you for the next Fusion Fridays. That's going to be in May.
Right.
So first Friday of every month, at least for now. So you'll see us the first Friday of May. Since you're all subscribed already, you'll be able to get a notification email similar as to what you did for today. And we'll see you then. I think Brian's probably working on that presentation already. So get excited. Simulation, I think, is what we're doing. So simulation.
Everything static simulation.
Static simulation? Okay, so static simulation, 1 month from, I guess, today or 4 weeks from today. We'll see you all there. Everyone have a great weekend.
Thank you.
And we'll see you later. Thanks.